Welcome to Shape the Podcast, a podcast all about maintaining mental health by sharing stories from those who have overcome negative experiences and feelings, and then turned them into something positive. Meet your host.
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's going on, Jason?
Going on? Hey, what's going on, Kyle?
Another beautiful day. So we should let people know ahead of time that this podcast is actually being taped. It is Thursday, February the 13th. It's being taped because Jason will be in the Bahamas next week.
Bye-bye.
Hey, he's going to leave us for the bright, sandy beaches and bright, sandy bitches. I mean, He's going to enjoy some family time, some quality time with family down in the Bahamas. So
some rum drinks, some tequila drinks, some beer drinks, and some sandy beaches.
Yes, some nice white sandy beaches.
Yeah.
Well, man, so this episode tonight is going to be a pre-recorded episode. But I just want to touch on something real quick. You know, something that is actually near and dear to my heart. You know, and really what this podcast is all about is helping people know that they're not alone through what they suffer with and deal with. Some friends of the podcast, Brian and Amber Coyne, they lost a member of their community. They lost a friend and a family member, a guy by the name of Michael. He decided that this earthly vessel was not what he wanted anymore. And unfortunately, he left them. He left us. He left a deep hole in their lives, and he left a deep hole in his family lives. But in honor of him, and because I told him that I would do it, scrolling across the bottom of the screen is a GoFundMe that's been set up to help cover the cost of his cremation, because that is his wish, was to be cremated. You know, mental health is I'm gonna get emotional here, because it's something that we all struggle with and we all deal with. You know, if you're
and it's not always directly, Kyle. It's indirect.
No, it's
in a case like this, it's the people that surrounded him that are dealing with the effects of the mental health issues that he was obviously struggling with. And as a parent of a suicide survivor, I can't even imagine what his parents are going through right now.
Yeah, so that's true. He did unfortunately decide to commit suicide. You know, suicide is not the answer, but to some people, it's the easiest way out. I am a 3-time suicide survivor, but you know, my higher power wasn't ready for me to go. You know, but so yeah. Just before we get started with our guest, Eli Earnest, I just wanted to put out there and just let everybody know, A, to keep them in your thoughts and your prayers, and B, if you're struggling right now, you know, when this podcast airs next Friday night, if you're struggling, reach out and talk to somebody, you know, because life is better with you in it than with you being 6 feet under. So.
And the link is in the Shape group as well. In case you can't catch it scrolling, you can get to it within the Shape Facebook group.
Yep, and if you're a part of Lucky Boy, their bid group, it is also in the Lucky Boy Bid Co group as well, as long as my Facebook page, and if you're friends of Brian and Amber, you can find it on their Facebook page as well. So, enough about that. Let's get tonight's guest. I have yet to meet this gentleman in person. I have
yet to meet him as well.
I came across his lovely face on Facebook, and I guess it was through Cyan, because I was inviting everybody and their grandmother to Cyan. I invited him and his lovely wife up, but they were unable to make it. But let's bring him on. His name is Eli Earnest, and that's no relation to Ernest from, like, you know, Ernest goes to camp, Ernest goes to jail. But I'm sure this Ernest probably has a couple of stories about probably camp and jail. But
We've got
Everybody,
Ernest grows a mustache.
Yes, Ernest did grow a mustache. Here he is, Mr. Eli Earnest. What's
Hello.
going on, sir? Welcome to the podcast.
Hey,
Hello.
brother, welcome.
Don't be afraid. We do not bite, but some of our listeners might.
I've never done anything like this before, so if I start sidetracking or something, just let me know.
Squirrel,
It's all good.
It's okay.
We ramble and talk and have a good time.
just grab you a nice tasty libation, like, Sun Kiss, 0 sugar. Try not to drink the alcohol while I'm on a podcast. You know what I mean? Sometimes that's a trigger for people. But go ahead and introduce yourself to the podcast and introduce yourself to us, because, like I said, I met you via Facebook, inviting you to Cyan, and then you reached out to me and said, "Hey, I might have a story or two to share. So why don't you tell us who you are and what you're all about?"
Well, I'm Eli Earnest. I think most people on here know me as Foxstache. That's my handle for YouTube, Instagram, and my mustache competition stuff. I've been doing mustache competitions for about a year now. And I didn't even know it was a thing until last year. And I love it because of these charities. And everybody in this community is so focused on helping other men out. And that's something I hadn't seen until I started getting into the bearded community.
Well, we try to be that way. Sometimes it's not that way, but yeah, a lot of the community is all about helping those out, so.
Well,
so how did you hear about it? First of all, like what in the world said, "Hey, I'm going to become a part of this crazy community"?
There was a guy named Adam Smalley that won big 2 years ago, and he's actually from Alabama, and I'm from Alabama too. And I saw him, and then I saw a guy named Bob Baker, and that magnificent mustache he's got, and I've been hooked ever since.
So that got you hooked on those two guys, which those two guys are very outstanding individuals. So what was life like before you came into the whole breeding world? Like, growing up, you shared some of your story with me, but like, what were your, what did you go through growing up before you had your epiphany and your change of life?
Well, my mother was married for, I think, 12 years to my dad. And when he had his second son, he decided to dip. So when I was a couple of weeks old, he left her in the middle of the woods with nothing but 2 kids and a motorcycle. And that's the last time I saw that guy. And then growing up, we were really poor, and we didn't have a lot of family. I had an uncle and a cousin that were like great men, but I always had that father figure thing missing from my life.
Yeah.
Like, and that comes into play later on. But I had my aunt and I had my mother, which were the best women I've ever met, except for my wife. Like, they were made out of iron, but they could never show me how to actually be a man. If that makes sense.
Yeah, because you didn't have that father figure there. Yeah.
Like, my mother remarried to to her husband now when I was 25. And like, I don't call him my stepdad, because stepdad is something you can't choose. But if I could choose a man to be married to my mother, I would choose this guy. He's a wonderful guy.
All right. Then for a moment, I thought you were saying I'd choose another guy, because this guy.
I remember I was in my 20s when I heard him say 2 things that I've never heard a man say before in my life, or at least not that I can remember. He said, "I'm sorry," and he said, "I made a mistake." And I heard that, and I'm like, okay, like, where was this at for the last 25 years?
Yeah.
But so growing up, I'm not a social person at all. Like, I'm not good with people, so I always shied away from like friends and social situations. But I had one friend that we did everything together, and this was actually my mother's husband's grandson.
All right.
So I did know him a good bit before they got married, but when I was 16, he took his own life, and I was already drinking for a while at that point, and that sent me down a spiral, a pretty big spiral. Like I got wild for a while. I've been like I got kicked out of so many places. I've been ran out of the zoo. I got kicked out of car dealerships, man. Waffle
Were you
House.
trying to let the monkeys? You were trying to let the monkeys out of the cage, weren't you?
I kind of want to know if there's a story behind how you got kicked out of the zoo.
I know. What is up with that?
I got ran out of the zoo. Like they chased me out of the zoo.
Wait, the people or the animals?
The people.
But like
No,
what were you doing to get kicked out of the zoo?
I can tell you that story in a direct message. How about that?
Hey,
That's got to be a good story.
Yeah, it's got to be a great story. So
It was
that might be
definitely-
for a future episode, everybody. If you want to, know how Eli got kicked out of the zoo, tune in, and who knows whenever you might find out.
Well, yeah, I was heavily intoxicated.
All right.
I can say that. But
You're not supposed to throw poo back at the monkeys, okay?
so I was wild for a minute, and then I got saved in college. I found God, or He found me. And then I started learning, okay, like this is what a man's supposed to be. And I started trying to apply that stuff to my life. But I still wild because I didn't have that self-care that I was supposed to have.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it was just one thing after another. Put myself in situations I should not have put myself in.
Been there.
And then
I got the T-shirt.
And then I met my beautiful wife. And she is the second best thing that has ever happened to me. And
Don't let her hear that, though.
she knows it. She tells me every day. Every day she tells me.
Like she has to reassure you, yeah. So you were talking about like elaborate on these situations, because like a lot of people out there who probably need to know because they want to know what you did. Maybe they're dealing with the same thing that you dealt with, and whatever you dealt with could probably help them today.
It was mainly relationships I had no business being in to begin with.
All right.
So like growing up without a mother and father, I didn't know how that was supposed to work.
Yeah.
Didn't have an understanding of a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I've been put in very unhealthy, very toxic, very abusive relationships thinking this was normal. Because I had, what was I supposed to know,
Yeah, I've been there. My last relationship before I met my wife was very mentally and physically abusive. Not on my end. So I've been there. I know how it is. And really, I didn't know how to love anybody. So I'm like you. I didn't really know how to love anybody until I met my wife. So it's amazing how that happens sometimes. How people are put in our lives for reasons that we may not know, and they change us. So that's
Absolutely.
good. That's good. You found, you found religion. You found God to help you out. And that you were open to that. Because a lot of people that scares a lot of people. Like when they hear God or hear religion. I went to AA and I was in AA for quite some time, and that's what scared me was, because it was that they taught that, but then they taught it as a, hey, don't look at it as a God thing, look at it as a higher power thing. Whatever you think that your God is, may it be, your pet or a doorknob, whatever keeps you grounded for that one day at that one time, let that be your deciding factor to keep you here instead of keeping out there in the madness, So kudos for you for finding that and that reassurance, because it takes a strong person to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I met her, everything changed. Now, I knew my wife for about 4 months before we got married. That's it.
So you really knew it was right.
Yeah.
I did. It was, I know this is going to sound crazy, but when she said my name the first time, it was like my soul recognized her voice, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was the first time I've actually felt at home, was when I met her.
like you could feel the love. Yeah. But
Mm-hmm.
please tell me you did not. Please tell me that you did not get engaged in your lazy boy like I did.
No. So I had this thing planned out where I was going to propose to her, and I was going to say this big romantic thing.
Yeah.
But we were at a dam, and like I was getting ready, like it's about to happen. But it was spring. Well, it was summer, and we're just looking at everything. It was beautiful, and I said, "Babe, winter's coming." She said, "Yeah," and I said, "All these flowers we're looking at, they're gonna die." She's like, "Yeah." It's like, even this dam is gonna be destroyed and break away one day. And she said, "There will always be another summer. Flowers will always regrow, and whatever gets destroyed, we can rebuild together." I dropped down on my knee right then and proposed to her.
Well, way to make me look bad. Okay. Jeez.
You're setting a high bar for everybody else to keep up with.
Yeah. I mean, I thought proposing to telling your wife that you should get married in your lazy boys, I thought that was romantic.
Hey, my older brother proposed in front of the Eiffel Tower. So
okay, all right, there you go. Well, I mean, that's hey, I like the way that it was put, though. You know what I'm saying? Because that's true. It's like even with the way life is, sometimes we just have to be assured that no matter what we're going through, if we want things to get better, things to get better. Our rivers in our life might overflow sometimes. Our rivers in our life might get dry sometimes, but we always have to be reassured and know that no matter what, if we take those steps to make them better, like you did, then nothing will hinder that. So I think that's freaking beautiful, man.
We actually get married every year in different places.
Every year,
because
now you're just really overdoing it. Every year in the same state, or every year in different states?
Different state. We got married in Colorado. We got married in Mississippi. We got married by Elvis in Vegas, which was interesting. Every year somewhere else, because I'm a firm believer in you don't get married one time. Every day when you wake up, you commit yourself to God, and you get married again. You recommit yourself to your family every morning.
Yeah. So how many years is this? How many years are you going on being married again over and over again?
Well, this year makes number 5, but there's been a couple of years we got married 2 or 3 times in the year.
So I'm gonna lay this out there for you. I am an ordained minister, and I've done a couple of weddings. I'd be happy to marry you guys if I see you somewhere one day.
Hey, we would love that. Are you going to World?
I will be at Worlds. Yes, I believe I will.
Both of us. You want to get married at Worlds? We can make you get married at Worlds all over again.
Hey, that'd be great, because I'm going as a lion tamer and she's dressing up as a lion, so that'd be perfect.
I mean, I think, man. I mean, I hope all the guys that watch this take note, and I hope all the women that watch this take note as well. That way, they can hold their men accountable. And honey, I hope you don't watch this.
Well, one of the things that, like, since I didn't have all those father figures, and once I started reading the Bible, I got to kind of decide what I think a man should be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I measure my manhood is by how well I can take care of my girls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
that's why I try to do stuff and she deserves it. Both of them, her and my stepdaughter, are absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Because you want to be that that example that you did not have. Thank God I had great examples growing up. I may have, fled the flock, but I can tell you right now that my dad's, unfortunately, he's now left this earth. He's up in heaven, but I can tell you right now that he's reassures me every single day that I'm doing something right. I mean, but yeah, you're right. It's like we all take advantage of stuff, even like on bad days or good days. But the moment you wake up the next day and you open up your eyes, that's when you should be grateful, because you get to start over again. You get to marry your wife again. You get to enjoy things that you might have put off. So I mean, kudos for you for being that type of guy. Because a lot of guys don't have that. A lot of guys, and a lot of women don't have that parent figure. I was lucky enough. I was adopted, and I went to foster care, and I was lucky enough that my foster parents adopted me. So there's one thing. You have those people that never had that, so they never felt loved. You never felt love until you found love. And that's what it takes. And sometimes that's what it takes for us to make the changes that we do in our lives. Is we find that love and acceptance not only on the outside but the inside. So I mean that's a great example to live by. And I'm sure for you it probably doesn't get easy because, like you said, you have a stepdaughter who probably won't be able to date till she's 18 or 19.
Well, we told her she had to be married for 4 years before she can start dating. So.
Because I'm sure Jason, are you like that with your girls?
So both of my girls are actually my stepdaughters.
Yeah.
And so I recognize the dynamic there. Although the youngest one, I adopted her after she turned 18. She didn't want to approach her biological father, and she didn't want to deal with him. She never had a relationship with him. My wife got divorced while she was pregnant, so there was never an opportunity for her to have a paternal relationship with her sperm donor. Yeah. So yes, I came in as a very protective stepfather, and I told them the same thing. You'll be allowed to date once I'm dead. That was the threshold.
I got pretty blessed in my stepdaughter situation because like her dad is very active in her life. It's not, like they still got that connection.
Yeah.
He's, like he's a very good parent. I'm just like bonus. I'm just the guy that gets to do all the fun stuff. I guess.
Yeah. But you're also the guy that, when discipline has to happen, you have to carry it,
Yeah, got to maintain order.
Yeah, but I mean, thank goodness for good orderly direction, or as I like to call it, God. And because I mean, I can tell you, without my higher power being in my life, I don't think I'd be here. I think probably that third time that I tried to commit suicide, I think that would have been probably it for me. But that kind of woke me up in a sense, But having this and having to speak to guys like you and having my good buddy Jason, yeah, that's right, I called you my good buddy, But having those guys and having the people that I can help and that you can help, one day at a time, that's what it takes in this life,
Mm-hmm. And the way I see it, no matter what anybody believes spiritually, morally, whatever culture you're in, whatever time frame you're born in, parenting comes down to one job and just one job alone, and that is preparing your child for the day you cannot help them anymore.
Yeah.
Yep. That's very well put.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hope that when you get to that point in your life that they'll be able to help you. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. We want to leave a legacy for other people in hopes that if we get to a point in our lives that we can't depend, we have to depend on others, that there will be people there for us to depend on, So, I mean, you're setting a great example in your daughter's life for sure. And I'm sure your wife sees that and says, "Oh yeah, he's setting the example that he needs and he wants."
Yeah, she is very proud of her man.
So, what did she like? When did you tell her your story? Like the story of the struggles that you had and things of that nature. What was her reaction to all that when you told her?
Well, she is a very understanding woman,
Right.
and she saw a different me that I see. It's like, not that she only sees the good. She says all the time, if you can't love an idiot, you can't love a man for what he really is. But she is very, what's the word? Not content. She's very happy with the life she chose.
That.
But this is the main point I'm trying to get from my story. I had a kidney stone one time. I get them every once in a while.
Yeah.
And I don't like taking pain medications. Like I've had my bouts with them, and I've seen them take out a lot of my friends. So I'm scared of pain medications.
Yeah.
I had a 4 millimeter kidney stone one day, and I was taking ibuprofen because I'm a man. I can tough it out. And I was throwing up from the pain, and my wife stopped and she said, "If there's a reason you're not taking pain medication, you need to let me know right now, because you would not let me suffer like this." And that's when it hit me that when if you're a man, you're in somebody's life, somebody counts on you for something, whether you know it or not. And to take care of them, you have to take care of yourself. And that's especially true with mental illness. If you have a family, if you have friends, somebody's counting on you, and you got to take care of yourself to help them. You can't just take care of everybody else and not worry about yourself like society tells us. That's like trying to cut down a tree with a baseball bat. You got to go to therapy. You got to get medication if you need it, and you got to keep that axe sharp. Like, people tell us all the time, "Oh, I'm a man. I don't need this. I'm a man. I don't need anybody." The manliest thing somebody can do is seek out help when they need it.
It's a social construct that we have to break, where everybody assumes the man has to be the dominant figure. We all need help here and there for whatever reason. It's not a point of judgment. It's not a point of weakness. It's just a point of keeping yourself healthy so that you can be there, like you said, for the people that need you.
And it's very hard for men. We're men, right? We don't want to go ask for help, because what's that? That's a sign of weakness. But like I want everybody to know, men, women, whatever, just because you ask for help doesn't mean that you're weak. It means that you're trying to do something that that you cannot do alone. So why not do it with somebody else who can help you out along the way?
In fact, it means that you're strong, and you're strong enough to break through the social accepted norms and do what's right for yourself and the people around you.
You're breaking the stigma of mental health, because it takes a lot for somebody to want to get the help, but it also takes a lot for somebody to stay on that track and not go back, because what's one thing when life gets hard? What's one thing to do? The easiest way is to give up and resort
to escape
back to the way, and resort back to the way you are, and you can't do that,
Absolutely.
So kudos for your wife being there to support you through that. I mean, it takes a strong man to admit defeat, and especially when you're dealing with a kidney stone of that magnitude, because that's a pretty whopping thing. You could you could have resorted to pills, you know? Yeah. And that's a downward spiral.
Those things, man, oh man, I've had a couple, and those things are not fun.
No, they're not.
Ugh.
They're not fun to pass either.
Mhm.
No. Like they say that it equals childbirth. If it equals childbirth, thank God that I don't have to deal with that. Because it was tough. So
Mhm.
so what's going on? Like, you know, you make these changes, you meet your wife, you married her. So what is going on right now in the life of Eli? And what is your lovely wife's name, by the way?
Kaylee.
Kaylee.
Yes.
So what is going on right now that you know that in your lives that keeps you so strong and keeps you so grounded to say, hey, you know what? I'm not going back to. I'm not going to be the type of guy that my dad was. I'm not going to be the type of guy that I was before I met you. What keeps you grounded today? You know, besides God, obviously. You know, what keeps you grounded to say, I have to strive to be a better person every single day?
They flat out deserve better than what this world can offer. So every day I wake up, I try to grow in some aspect.
Yeah.
Like I do a lot of YouTubing, try to get stuff out of like Roman history, all this stuff, because all history does apply in the family life. It all does. Like, we're at war with the world right now. It's you and your family versus everybody else out there.
Yeah.
And the work ethics are still the same. Ain't nothing changed. The world is still trying to divide and conquer the family.
Yeah, terrible. I mean, it's so crazy that the way that society is right now, that we let differences divide us, you know, and instead of coming together and uniting and making a change together, we let differences of one another, and I've seen it, you know, and not this current election, but also the past election and the past election before that, you know, we have to come united, and if you could do that with a great woman by your side, such as your wife, you know, and I'm sure that not every single day is bright eyed and bushy tailed and made of cherries. You know, for you guys, I'm sure you've had your struggles, but just like every other relationship does, all right. But if you can come together and you can talk about that, and you can say, hey, I don't want to be that what we were yesterday. You know, I want to be better than that. You know, that's what matters. You know, and that's what matters really in life, is that if you can wake up one day and take it one day at a time and be a better version of you than you were the day before, then you're on the right track to succeed. You know,
if you're going to be married for 20 years, all 20 of them ain't going to be good.
no.
But one thing we do try to do a lot is when we do have our little fights, we try to have them in front of the child. Because I want her to know that you can have a fight. You can be mad as hell at your spouse without raising your voice, without being disrespectful, without stop showing them love. You can do all those three things and still have a heated argument. Because if I don't show her that, the world is going to show her something completely different.
Correct.
And the world probably does. You know, and that's the thing, is that, man, social media and media in general has shown its ugly head. I feel sorry for kids these days. You know, I feel sorry for kids growing up in today's society, except for kids who have great parents, like you and your wife, who teach them, hey, this is what you need to do. You know, this is what you need to do to succeed, and don't believe all that crap that you see, you know, or hear at school or whatever, you know. But you're also able to form your own opinion, you know, and I'm sure that you guys have taught that example to her, and like you said, you guys are living that example. You know, I can't believe that you argue in front of her. That is pretty awesome. I'm just saying.
Well, it's a great concept because
It is.
you said, it creates an expectation in the child's head of what a healthy relationship is meant to be. Everybody doesn't have to agree, just like you said earlier, Kyle. But by having that disagreement, openly, and letting the child see that you worked through it, you overcame it, and you moved on, it creates a proper expectation of what a healthy relationship should be.
Yeah.
Like, I want her
It's
to
not
know.
always a love story.
Yeah, like I want her to know that we could be having a bad time. I'm still holding that door open for her mother. I'm still kissing the back of her hand. I'm still treating her with respect.
Yeah.
I mean, you're giving your daughter the example, like you said, that you did not have when you were younger. And you're being that example for other fathers, because I'm sure that other men probably notice you and notice what you're doing, even though they probably don't say it. They're probably thinking, man, I should be more like that guy,
Or they're saying, stop it, you're setting a bad example.
Yes.
Well, my thing is, our jobs are to prepare them for when we're gone. And that isn't just showing her all this good stuff I'm doing. It's like, hey, this is where I messed up today. This is what I'm struggling with. This is what you do when you have a problem. And if people did that more often, then their kids, when they got older, they'd actually know how to seek help.
Yeah. Well, if people parented more often,
the problem is that's the parent today.
Yes. Yep. I mean, growing up, I didn't have this. I didn't have cable TV. I'm the youngest of 6, so growing up, we didn't have like TVs in our bedrooms. Not until we got older. Our parents parented us. From the time, if it was summertime and we were out of school, from the time we woke up to the time the sun started going down, guess where we were? We were outside. Yeah, we were outside riding our bikes or playing in the mud. Yes, this day and age is a little different because of all the,
Kyle, we lost your audio again, brother. Kyle, can you hear us, Kyle? Hang on, everybody. Let me shoot Kyle a message. I don't think he realizes that he can't hear us. Oh, let's see. I don't think you can read that, Kyle. Can you? Yes, I know. Take your time, man. Take your time. Yeah, so I'm proud of you as a stepfather. You can still hear me, right?
I can, yes.
Perfect. It's an amazing thing as a step parent and I I knew it going into it, but to be able to treat somebody else's kid as if they're your own without any difference, without any level of, because when I got married to my wife, I had a son from my first marriage. So to take that stepchild and treat him like your own, it's an amazing feeling to be able to be there as an equal with every other kid in the situation. And I'm proud of and I'm happy for every child that gets to experience that. So kudos to you for being that father.
Sorry about those technical difficulties again. I don't know what it is with my audio and my Wi-Fi here. I'm gonna have to get something figured out. I might have to move back to my dining room, because when I was in my dining room, nothing ever happened. But since I moved to my office, my audio has gone out a couple of times. But
is that the lazy boy you proposed on?
it is not. I was gonna say the lazy boy might be the issue. But yeah, man, like Jason said, thank you for being the example, and thank you for helping fathers out there and men out there, because when they watch this next week, or shall I say tonight, because it's going to air next Friday. When they watch this, you're going to be that example that some people might need.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate it.
I actually think we did meet before.
Did we meet at Great American?
We had to, because I got one of those too.
We probably did. It was that whole weekend was kind of crazy. So we probably met in passing. I was wearing a flower suit then.
Okay, I was lit.
But was it getting chased out of the zoo crazy?
No, and hopefully one day Eli will share that story with the masses, because I just want to know, like, how many monkeys did you let out of their cage? Like, were you trying to ride a rhinoceros? Like, that's going to be an interesting story.
It was pretty bad.
Well, man, we appreciate you coming on tonight. Like, and thank you for your willingness to share your story and share what the changes that you've gone through. But before we wrap up our podcast, this podcast, if there's something that you can tell somebody right now that might be struggling, or might, not just struggling, but might be having a down day, what's something that you could tell them to, like, pick up help them out, give them a little bit of a kick in the ass, so to speak.
Well, I got two good ones. Well, I think they're good ones. Life comes in waves. Everything in life is going to be a wave. You're going to have your good waves and your bad waves. If you can just ride out the bad waves, the good ones are coming. It might be hard to see it, but it's definitely coming. The second one is, if you are absolutely giving up on life and you're ready to end everything, what's it hurt to make a phone call?
Great point.
Yeah. I mean, great point. I mean, that's all, a phone call, a text, because, it seems like this day and age, texting is the way to go. But, I mean, that's all it takes. It takes one call, and if somebody doesn't answer that phone call somebody else, but don't give up. So, man, yeah, great points in that. I appreciate it, sir. And I appreciate you
me on here.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we're glad you were able to join us. We had a great time. Yep.
Yeah, thanks. You're actually my second episode since I came back. So I appreciate you reaching out and wanting to come on. So yeah, like I said, when this airs, you will be notified. That way you can share it out to your family and your YouTube or your TikToks or whatever you do. That way we can change lives, one podcast at a time.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
We're going to kick you back and go enjoy our green room, with all the snacks and stuff that we have back there. And then we'll be with you here shortly. All right.
Yes, sir.
Well, that is it. What a great podcast, I think.
Yeah, great guest, great story, great positive influence for fathers and for children to look up to. Yep, great story. I loved having him on.
I hope when this airs that you are enjoying the beach or enjoying some type of nice, relaxing time there in the Bahamas.
Actually, I think the time this airs, I will be on a flight on my way back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 8 o'clock Friday night. Yeah, I'll be in the air at that time on my way back.
Back to reality.
Back to reality.
Well, thank you for like I said, being there for me, during the time I was off, and thank you for still being a part of this.
Of course, and we're glad you're back.
It means a lot to me.
Yep.
And like I said beforehand, those of you who will watch this, on the bottom of your screen, there's a GoFundMe going across it. That is for his name is Michael. He's a friend of Brian and Amber Coins. Unfortunately, he took his own life, and so that GoFundMe is set up to help cover some of the costs of his funeral arrangements, the cremation, all that good stuff, or bad stuff. But yeah, like Fox Stash said, if you're struggling out there, reach out. make a phone call. That's all it takes.
Mm-hmm.
So we appreciate you all. Have a great night. We'll see you next 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching.